April 12th, along the Himalayan road. Spring snow still lingers in Pahalgam, this tourist paradise dubbed India's Little Switzerland. Suddenly, the tranquility is shattered by dense gunfire. 4 armed militants burst out from the pine forest, firing at picnic-goers. 26 people fell in pools of blood. Among them, 24 were Indian tourists. One was a Nepali tourist, and another a local Muslim youth. The attackers shouted to expel outsiders, then vanished into the mountains. This terrorist attack instantly ignited the already tense atmosphere between India and Pakistan. PM Modi cut short his foreign trip and returned home. Within 24 hours, water and food cut off, a triple whammy. Pakistan retaliated by closing its airspace, warning of water cuts and declaring war. The 2 supporting nations once again turned Kashmir into gunpowder. Why has Kashmir become South Asia's Palestine? Provoking conflict, showing restraint? Does the dispute resurface with the passage of time? When familiar news headlines re-enter the international fray, people realize the hard conflict over Kashmir has persisted for over 70 years. Since 1947, when British colonizers rushed out of the South Asian subcontinent, the land of Kashmir, surrounded by snowy mountains, has become a conflict zone for India and Pakistan. When the British Mountbatten drew that dividing line on the map with a pencil, the Himalayan road became the world's longest military standoff zone. Over the subsequent 78 years, 3 full-scale wars erupted here. Large-scale military standoffs and thousands of border skirmishes. Over 100,000 civilians and soldiers died in the conflicts. In October 1947, the first large-scale conflict broke out. In a civil war lasting 15 months, with both sides deploying over 100,000 troops. Ultimately, under UN mediation, concluded swiftly with the line of control. But this line that has been drawn by the sound of gunfire turned into a spark for later conflicts. Because India controls the water-rich upper reaches of the Indus River, Pakistan occupies a strategic high ground over the Indian plains. In August 1965, War II began. India suddenly cut off the canal, causing drought across 300,000 hectares of farmland in Punjab. When the 8 Army's tanks crossed the line, attempting to seize the Chawinda Dam, India's 15th Infantry established a blood-thin defense line with anti-tank guns. An at least 22-day tug of war cost both sides over 7,000 casualties. Ultimately, the Tashkent Declaration, signed under Soviet mediation, as always, failed to resolve any issues. The conflict continued. Entering the 21st century, the conflict in Kashmir transformed. Large-scale conflicts ceased, but small-scale clashes persisted, like the one on February 14, 2019. In the Pulwama region, a vehicle with 350 kilos of explosives crashed into an Indian military convoy, resulting in 40 soldiers' deaths. Just 12 days later, there was cross-border airstrikes targeting Balakot in Kashmir. Public uproar from pilot Abhinandan online. Pakistan uses F-16 fighter jets to shoot down an Indian MiG-21 in response. First cast a shadow of nuclear war over South Asia. There are many similar conflicts. The most recent one occurred on April 22nd at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, precisely when the clock strikes the hour. Gunfire and alarm sounds suddenly echoed in Pahalgam. 4 armed militants suddenly charged out, executing Hindu male tourists with AK-47s in a massacre-style attack. Lies sprawled on a flower-filled meadow. 24 individuals were identified as Indians, 1 Nepali tourist along with 1 other. Local Muslim youth community. The attackers recorded it on their phones, uploading it online while shouting, "This is the final warning to the immigrants." Then they vanished into the forest. India's government retaliated within 24 hours. The Water Resources Minister signed an order suspending the Indus River Water Treaty and closing all upstream water outlets. Interior Ministry deployed 20K border security for lockdown, triggering the only land port that exists in Attari. The ministry expelled 8 military advisors in India and revoked the visas of 80,000 citizens. On the other side, Pakistan swiftly retaliated. The Civil Aviation Authority announced airspace closures, resulting in hundreds of flights being affected. Commerce halted $1.2 deal with missile forces. They pushed the Killing Star 3 nuclear missiles from their silos to launch pads. Military confrontations simultaneously escalated in the Arabian Sea and the Kashmir Valley. An Indian aircraft carrier battle group approached the Batala port. The Indian Carrier Strike Group is approaching Baifang Port. 8 Multinational Naval Peace Exercise 2025. Urgent transition to combat deployment. In the northern section of the control line at the Gultali Valley, the Indian Army's 8th Mountain Brigade, engaging in sustained gunfire with the 8th Army D-323 Border Defense Brigade for 6 hours. Both sides used mortars and anti-tank missiles, resulting in at least 17 soldiers killed. Strong reactions from both nations inevitably pushed this local bloody incident towards large-scale war. Hardba has once again become the focus of the world. And while countless people are paying attention, many are also speculating. What exactly is the reason? The Kashmir issue remains unresolved. The deep-seated reasons for the conflicts between the two nations are complex. Among them, the belief in water sources has turned their grievances into a death match. The Baglihar Dam, built by Indian engineers in Kashmir, is referred to by Pakistan as a sword hanging over their heads. The Sword of Damocles. This earth and mud giant intercepts 66% of the flow of the Jhelum River, causing severe droughts in Punjab, Pakistan's wheat area, transforming it into a military chessboard. More deadly is that the river interlinking project initiated by India in 2019 diverts the Chenab River and Ravi River, flowing into the Ganges water system. This directly threatens Pakistan's annual wheat production of 2.3 billion tons. It is precisely because of this. The competition for water resources has even given birth to a unique glacier specialty ice. Also, the 6,000-meter-high West Asian-style glacier. Indian and Pakistani soldiers not only combat minus 50-degree severe cold, but also compete for each tiny amber formed by meltwater. For instance, in August 2024, Indian Special Forces blew up the Blue Eye Lake ice dam, causing flash floods in Pakistan. In the Gilgit region, washing away 17 bridges. At least the assault operation against the military stronghold nearly ignited the new round of conflict that recently erupted. It staged ahead of last year. Besides water resources, this absolute production factor concerning the survival of both countries. Religious conflicts are also a major irreconcilable factor in the disputes between the two nations. One side consists of Hindu followers, while the other side consists of devoted Muslims. The different religious views of both countries ensure that Kashmir will not be peaceful. On August 5, 2019, the Modi government revoked Article 370 of the Constitution, which triggered the religious conflict in Kashmir. To this day, these two issues have pushed Hardba further away from peace. As new, the conflicts surrounding Kashmir are inevitably trending towards escalation. And regardless of the outcome on either side, this war is destined to be a lose-lose game. The terrifying balance formed under the snapshot of the two nations is like dancing on a tightrope. India's 1.4 million regular forces, 3 times that of Pakistan, but facing the Bafang's Killer Star 3 missile with a range of 2,750 kilometers. The direct distance from New Delhi to Islamabad is 550 kilometers, putting both sides within a death radius of mutual assured destruction. This stable type of nuclear binding, however, generates a more dangerous gaming model. India knows that cutting off the Indus River would cause 1.6 million hectares of wheat fields in West Punjab to be lost. Yet it still suppresses Bafang, afraid to launch a full-scale war, cut off the water supply. India's soldiers cut off the water to terminate the militants' logistics. But 1.2 billion Pakistani farmers become hostages. This escalating retaliation is creating a larger-scale humanitarian disaster concurrently. Both sides use interstellar weapons destined to make each other prisoners of war. When India closes the only land border, not only is the $1.2 billion Indian cotton yarn and pharmaceutical raw material transportation disrupted, the 200,000 troops stationed in Jammu and Kashmir spend $24 million in military expenses daily, and Pakistan retaliates by closing its airspace, causing Indian airlines to lose $1.8 million daily. Flights originally going to Europe via Pakistani airspace are forced to detour to the Arabian Sea, with fuel costs surging by 40%. Ironically, the numbers India prides itself on, the Indian plans backfired. 60% of Bangalore's IT outsourcing companies relying on Pakistani programmers? The sudden visa freeze has cost giants like Infosys over $300 million in orders. Therefore, the two nations of Hardba should avoid continuing to escalate friction. Otherwise, it's not just about the face of the two countries, but also about the people of both nations.